So honestly, I'm super off the cuff tonight. I The adrenaline has worn off. My husband and I just hosted an iftar event. What a blessing it is that at 8 weeks we have like a handful of good people with whom we really enjoy spending time and their company to the point where we could host a dinner event for Ramadan with them. And man, I feel incredibly blessed that we already have that kind of dynamic and circle in just a couple of months. It's beautiful. So we just hosted that. And I'm coming off the adrenaline of that. And now I feel like my body is shutting down. I feel like I might be coming down with something for real, for real. At first, I'm like, oh, it's just a little runny nose. The kids have a runny nose. I'll probably be fine. But no, I'm feeling like achy and stuff. Maybe after a good rest, I'll feel better in the morning, or maybe tomorrow will be the day. And so I'm a little concerned about this commitment that I've made to myself and to YouTube to show up every day for 100 days, right? Because what if I'm really physically like not in a good space? What's the line between I'm sorry, y'all. What's the line between being like pushing yourself when you shouldn't versus being creative, thinking outside the box, and kind of moving through in a way without just throwing it all out and not doing it at all? I might be tested in that way in the next few days if I'm not feeling physically the best. What I really think it is, and what I think I'm really gonna have to confront, is shedding any production. And I don't do a lot, right? We're just having a conversation. Like in the age of scrolling through AI advertisements, it's nice for me even to just have an organic conversation, just show up as me. Uh, however, comma, uh, it would I don't look like I just rolled out of bed. I'm dressed. My style is usually pretty comfy, so you might see me in my wide leg pants. I rock a tee, but I'm like dressed for the day. But when you're just like out of it, sometimes you're not. Sometimes you're wearing a hoodie over your pajamas and your eyes are puffy. And I think I'm asking myself, like, Imani, are you prepared to show up in that way because you made a commitment to yourself? Because I think pushing myself would be trying to, if I'm in that state, y'all know what that state is. If I'm in that state, I think pushing myself would be trying to like get up and, get cute and, dress if it's not in me physically. And that would be pushing myself. So I think the real question is like, are you just prepared to show up for real, as is? Because folks will say, like, yeah, people need to show up authentically as they are, as is. And then they do, and they're like, whoa, like, not that as is. I don't know. Maybe people don't say that. Maybe that's my own self talk doing what it does. But I know one thing: it's late and I'm tired. I know I'm going to record this and I'm going to post this. There's not going to be any extraness on this particular video, and I have to be like, and that's okay, and that's okay. It's like a metaphor for like you're showing up, and just you showing up as yourself is enough. And again, I feel like this is the test of that coming through, just manifesting in this and making a commitment to yourself and seeing it through. And one of the things that I'm in a season in my life, I'll say this season started in my late 30s, and now that I'm in my 40s, a continuous season of not performing for folk and not moving beyond my capacity. I'm not saying I don't get this, I'm not off on this sometimes, but my mindset is like, if I don't have the capacity to do it, it's probably going to be a no. Or I'm going to suggest something that I do have the capacity for. And my friend and I were just talking about this. Sometimes you have to be honest with folks and say, like, I just can't do it. I'm spent. I thought I could, but the reality is I can't. What if we stripped it down and it looked like this instead of this? Right? Like I don't have the bandwidth or the capacity for this. And I feel you 1,000%. I'm like, if I don't have the capacity, it's gonna be a no. And there was definitely a time where I was not gonna say no to stuff just because I didn't feel like doing it. And not like in a flippant way, but in a real like I'm exhausted or I'm not feeling well or I can tell my body needs some rest or something, whatever it is, and to be able to say, excuse me, I can't do it. Um, I'm definitely here for that. And this is taking a turn of like things, seasons that I'm in, but I feel like it all still connects. I'm also in a season where I refuse to be physically uncomfortable. I remember maybe like after having Zen, maybe a year and a half after him, just really starting to have, and my style has really changed. Um, like even like more fitted t-shirts and flowy pants or something. Like I like baggier t-shirts. I like roomy clothes. There's not gonna be no underwire around these parts, okay? I'm not wearing stilettos, and if it is a heel, it's a chunky heel, but it's probably not a heel, unless it's a special occasion. And even then, can I get away with a fancy looking a nice sandal? It's gonna be a comfy heel. Um I was not a sneakers girl. My husband could tell you. Like I never wore sneakers when he met me. And I was a girl from New York. He thought that was weird. I was like, I feel like there's a certain type of girl from New York that's always wearing sneakers. Like they're into sneakers. I just wasn't that girl. And I had a pair of Tims, and when I wore it, he was like, "Oh my gosh, you look so good." I was like, "Dude, I'm wearing Tims," and I was wearing it just because I don't know, it was probably snowing or something, and it just made sense. But I wasn't a sneakers person. I'm absolutely a sneakers person now. I will throw on a pair of sneakers with a dress, like, I'm all about my comfort, roominess, feeling good in my body. So yeah, staying true to my capacity, feeling comfortable. If you feel me, let me know in the comments. Like if you have things that you're like, yeah, I realize that this is one of my priorities now too, one of my non-negotiables. And I said earlier, also not being performative or not feeling like I need to vibe for people to like me, to vibe with me. I don't even think I was ever really there, but I think that in my growth, there were definitely periods for me where I cared what most people thought. Where I was like, oh, I don't want them to think this about me. I don't want them to think that about me. That is not an easy thing to fully let go of for a lot of people. Some of us aren't even aware that we do it. And I don't know if it's all the way truthful when people say, I don't care what anybody thinks. There may be some outliers who really rock that way. However, for me, I would say it's more likely to be truthful that you don't care what you don't care what everybody thinks versus you don't care what nobody thinks, because you don't care what everybody thinks because there are just specific people for whom their opinion or their perception or their perspective matters to you. And I think that that rings true. There's certain people that you do care what they think. It could be your spouse, it could be your best friend, it could be your mom, it could be a sibling. You know, we we definitely have these moments where we have to look at ourselves and say, "Ah, like I really do want this person to think highly of me." And I think on the flip side of that is we can have that desire for that person that we care about, that we love, to really think highly of us, but also still be true to who we are. Like, I hope that you like what I'm presenting, but what I'm presenting is going to be me. And that's where there's no, you're not being performative. That's where the performance is like, I'm not going to song and dance for you. I'm not going to do extra and go above and beyond because I think that that is what's going to make you like me. I'm going to do me. And sometimes that looks like me going above and beyond or doing extra or doing something else because that's just who I am. And authentically that comes out. It's not because I'm, you know, shucking and jiving so that you feel some type of way. So I think the growth between the 20s and the 30s, the late 30s into the 40s, all of it really shedding this idea that A, I care what everybody thinks, and B, shedding what may have come off of what we're supposed to do, which is we don't care what nobody thinks. Like that came off as that's the goal. However, I think that gray area. I was just talking to a friend, and we both were like, we live in the gray. Is I don't care what everybody thinks. True, but I do care what some people think, and I think we need to be honest about that if that's the case, and it's a case for a lot of us. So yeah, for me, these are just a few things that just make me feel even more settled in my skin as I get older. As things change, things be changing, y'all, for real. Like mentally, emotionally, physically, especially as a woman, but it's just like a lot of changes happening. My left foot is swollen right now. I've been on my feet a lot today. Been doing a lot. That's why I'm like the adrenaline must have just left my body, and all of a sudden, poof, that's how I feel in my body right now. But again, commitment made to myself to show up. So I don't even know. I hope that this is a conversation that was interesting to whoever was listening. I am confident and trust that whoever needed to hear this, wanted to hear this, is hearing it. And if that's you, I appreciate you. I appreciate you taking your time to listen. If you comment, to comment. If something resonated with you, if there's something you're shedding, or yes, any and all of the above. If you like this video, I know this was a little off the cuff, but hey, if you liked it, give it a thumbs up. If you didn't, it's cool. It's still cool. Um, and yeah, I have conversations. Yeah, everybody, Aieshah, have conversations here on the YouTube, on the internets, around how we can have deeper relationships with self that feel good and relationships with our partners through the transitions, challenges, and changes that inevitably happen in life. So if that's your vibe, please subscribe and take the journey with me. It's going to be a pretty cool journey because I would be showing up every day for the next 100 days. Tomorrow, depending on how I feel, you might really see me in the raw. You might see me in a hoodie laced up to here, okay? And we'll see. We'll see how it goes. We'll see what it looks like to really lead into this commitment no matter what as a non-negotiable. Come check it out with me. Come see with me. All right. So y'all take care and I'm gonna see you tomorrow.